Hey guys, how's it going? Today I wanted to make a pretty simple, quick video just to show you guys the best settings for console Dead by Daylight, or at least the ones that I use that I really like. And I've been playing for a long time now, and I feel like these might be some of the best that you can have. I'm gonna give you 5 seconds to like and subscribe. Okay, that's probably 5 seconds. Before this video starts, I also want to say I have heard, I don't know how true this is, but I believe that Xbox Series S and Series X, and then maybe PS5 has different settings. I don't have those. I have the original Xbox. Well, I have the Xbox S, 1S. So I don't have any of those other fancy stuff. If that's true, I don't know if that's actually true, but all those extra settings that they give you on the next gen consoles are mostly preference anyway, so you can of course customize those to your liking, but I'm just going to give you some settings for the main gameplay. So to start off, in general, a lot of this doesn't matter, a lot of this is preference. I don't even know what beginner mode is. It's always been off for me. Subtitles, I don't even know what that is. Since they're off, I don't need opacity or size. I would say the only thing in general that actually matters is crossplay. I made a whole video talking about this, but if you want to make yourself depressed, turn off crossplay. If you want to play the game and actually have a chance at not getting tunneled out of the game 5 seconds in, turn it on. The rest of the stuff, auto decline friend requests, party privacy, I don't know. That's obviously preference. In the beta category, I have the new wiggle interaction turned on, because it gives you a chance to wiggle off of the killer faster if you hit great skill checks. Okay, and graphics. So, UI scale, I have that turned, I believe I turned that down. I think the default was 100. I turned that down a little bit. I might even turn it down a little more. In-game HUD scale, skill check scale, I turned all of them down, just because I like to have them a little bit smaller, so they're not so in my face and I can kind of see the rest of the game a little clearly. My thought process was, if there's like a stealth killer or something, then it might mean the difference between them sneaking up on me and me seeing them if there's less in the way. Large text, I have that off. I'm not blind, so. Player names visibility, I should probably turn that off, because I do make videos and I don't want to expose people's names in my videos. So I probably should turn it off. I'm gonna go ahead and turn it off, but it's not necessary. Killer hook count visibility, you should never turn that off. Just always have that on. There's no reason for it to be off. Score events visibility, I don't know what that is, but I would say probably have that turned on. Colorblind mode, okay. I made a whole video. I'm actually gonna link in the description. I think it's a pretty good video. It talks all about colorblind modes and which ones work best and what intensity you should have. This is what I have right here, but it is a preference thing, so I wouldn't just copy me blindly. I would go watch my other video just to make sure it's exactly what you want, because again, it is preference. Audio, it's all preference, but I do recommend getting headphones for this game, because there is directional audio, and it's good to be able to hear, especially with killers like Spirit, or like if there's a ghost face sneaking up on you, just like stuff like that. If you can't hear the tear radius, if you don't see them coming, you can hear them before you see them sometimes. Invert y-axis, that's just gross and weird. If you do that, you're kind of weird. Sensitivity, okay. This is something I want to get into. I have my sensitivity at 55, and I really do believe that 55 is the best sensitivity that you can have in this game for console. It moves perfectly with your player when you turn. And a big problem that I've always had with Dead by Daylight is there's no ADS sensitivity. And what I mean by that is aim down sights. When you're aiming down on a flashlight and you have a really high sensitivity and you move your stick, I'm sure some people know what I'm talking about, but you move your stick when you're aiming in with a flashlight and it goes flying to the side. So you kind of have to aim it in place before you even click your flashlight. You really can't like look around while you have your flashlight turned on. So 55 is a really, really perfect middle ground. It's the only sensitivity where you can effectively moonwalk, the best sensitivity for 360, and the best middle ground for the ADS sensitivity and it not being too fast. Interaction behavior, I have it on hold. I haven't experimented with toggle. I think it could be interesting. I would definitely experiment with it myself if I were you. Just for a game or two, just experiment with it a little bit. figure out what it does. But for me, not my preference, run to cancel. I have that on. I would say have that on, because if you're being healed by another player and the killer is approaching you, this is just an example, by the way. There's a ton of times where this happens, but the times that you'll see it the most are when you're being healed by another survivor and the killer approaches you, and you know that you're not going to get the heal off in time. If you start sprinting, it will cancel the other survivor healing you. Rather than if you have it off, I believe that you can't actually move until the other person stops healing you. So definitely have this on, because you can't always trust other survivors to be as aware as you. And especially if you have this on toggle, I would say turn this on, because you're going to want to cancel it by sprinting instead of just untoggling it. It's a lot more efficient. But again, I haven't experimented with it, so that might not even be how that works, but I would like to guess that that's probably how that works. For killer, I have always liked fast sensitivities in games, especially first-person games. I really like as fast as possible, which is ironic for me to say after telling you to put on 55 sensitivity for Survivor. I used to have 100 for Survivor, but 360ing, it just takes a huge hit to 360ing. You can't really, you go so fast that you don't even move, basically. And then for interaction behavior for killer, I just have that on hold as well. So input binding. Okay, so for Survivor, this is where it gets a lot different. So obviously forward, left, backward, and right, that's normal. I have run on left bumper, which I think is default. Crouch on left trigger, which again I think is default. And then use item as right trigger. Here's where it gets a little different. And I'll explain why I have it like this. But drop item is on B. Pick up item and interactions is on X. Actions is on A. And secondary action and skill check is on Y. The reason for this is because I actually have an Elite controller. And if you don't know what an Elite controller is, there are paddles on the back, and each paddle corresponds to a button. And the whole idea of it is so you can still hit buttons, but you don't have to unaim. You don't have to let go of the right stick to hit a button. And so I've just got it, and ever since I've just been using it for everything, because I really recommend it. It's pretty good. But even without the Elite controller, I still recommend, maybe not this exactly, but something like this. I know default, I believe that this one and this one are the same default, I think, or I don't know. There's two of the same normally. You never, ever, ever, ever want to have two of the same, and here's why. Well, there's a million examples of this, but here's the most common one is when you go up to a survivor who's down on the ground, and you try to heal them, and they're on a pallet, and you accidentally throw the pallet instead of healing them, so you just wasted a pallet. Or you go to vault a window, and there's a locker right next to it, and you accidentally jump in the locker instead of vaulting the window, which actually, this doesn't solve that now that I think about it, because that's still the same button. But things like that, where you try to do something, and then the game thinks you're trying to do something else because it's the same button for both of those things. And if you've been playing the game for a while, you'll know what I mean. So you want to make sure each interaction is a different button. Doesn't matter what button it is. You can copy mine if you want to. I really like it. I've been sticking with this for a very long time. I'm probably never going to change this because this is great. This has worked really well for me. Activate ability, which is dead hard, basically. Dead hard's on right bumper. Wiggle left, wiggle right. They're both on left bumper. I didn't want to have to, so it's for the new, if you have the new wiggle interaction on, I didn't want to have to go from left bumper to right bumper to left bumper to right bumper, so I put them both on left bumper. And then everything else is, I didn't really change anything about it. All the other stuff, it should all be default. For killer, I don't think I changed a single thing about killer. I really don't play killer that much. Sometimes I do, but it just requires too much thought, and I don't want to have to put in that much effort. So, yeah, it's just default. But you can copy these if you want to. Alright, I think that's it. I hope you enjoyed the video. Like and subscribe. Remember to check out that video I mentioned. It was the brightness settings, or the colorblind settings. It's linked in the description. I think there's another video I mentioned about sensitivity and 316. I'll link that as well. Check those videos out. Yeah, and remember, always keep crossplay on. Goodbye.
Y'all see the shoes? Y'all see the money? Legit boss ass nigga on this gang shit. I'm on top. Long real nigga, cause I'm on low. All the way.